In the previous video, we looked at the importance of user stories in Agile development. Sometimes, user stories become complicated for the developers to understand, or a particular user story can consist of multiple factors to be worked on before it can be considered as completed. Hence, it is important to simplify the user story by splitting it into smaller and lightweight user stories so that the developers work on it efficiently. Each user story must be small enough that few of them can be completed in a specific sprint. An effective way to split a compound user story is the SPIDER method. This acronym stands for 5 powerful ways of splitting a user story, which are: 1. Spikes. Spikes are defined as small, prototypical implementations of functionality that are essentially used to evaluate new technologies, domains, etc. This method involves building knowledge over several investigations. As an individual gains more knowledge about the product and various factors influencing the product increment, some stories can be better understood and split easily. The spike method is relatively abstract and thus is often used only after other SPIDER methods have been considered. 2. Paths. Whenever a user story has several alternative paths, a professional can make separate user stories from these paths. Let us take an example of a grocery store that functions online. A user story is written where the user wants to pay for the purchases online. There are several possible paths for the payment, as the customer can pay with a credit card, debit card, PayPal, or through internet banking. Here, the task of designing the payment for the online grocery store is subdivided into smaller user stories based on the alternative paths. The newly created smaller stories are simpler and easier to estimate. 3. Interface. As its name suggests, the interface refers to the point of interaction of the product with a person or another system. Examples could be web browsers such as Google Chrome or Safari, smartphones powered by Android or iOS, operating systems such as Windows or Mac. Using the interface as a criterion, user stories could be split into many smaller stories. 4. Data. When the initial user stories refer to only a sub-range of relevant data, this technique can be used to split the story. Let us consider an example of a website that is intended to attract tourists to a particular place famous for its beaches, resorts, and outdoor activities. Here, the first user story can include all the beaches in the area. The second story can talk about the resorts available. And the third can focus on outdoor activities. 5. Rules. Another splitting factor for user stories could be the technological standards and business rules. Let us take the example of the online purchase of cinema tickets. Here, there can be several constraints based on the requirements of the respective business. One such constraint could be the limit of a maximum of 6 tickets per email address. Initially, the developers could exclude this restriction, which allows the visitor to buy tickets as much as they wish. However, the restriction could be introduced in the next iteration step. This process is called incremental development, where the initial stories do not contain complete information, but the stories are delivered in several smaller steps and implemented incrementally. To conclude, these 5 SPIDER techniques can help a product owner simplify a large compound user story into a small and estimable user stories that the developers can easily implement.
Stay tuned for more PremierAgile Learning Shorts. Thank you for watching this video. Do click on the subscribe button to get an alert for our new PremierAgile Learning Shorts.